Hi, so it's another great time we meet again, students. So I think it's a great afternoon. We meet for this session, which I said we were supposed to do today. So remember that I said we are supposed to cover published financial statements. So the topic of today, the topic of the day is all about published financial statements. So the published financial statements. So that is the topic of today. So remember that when you are talking about the published financial statements, these are the statements prepared for the publication purposes. So the investors will base their argument on this in order to make investment decisions in your company. So which are some of these statements which are prepared? So we have the statement of profit or loss, statement of changes in equity, statement of financial position, cash flow statements. So those are the four statements you need to know how you are supposed to present them. So starting from the statement of profit or loss, remember that this statement is presented on a functional basis. So the statement is presented on a functional basis. So before we continue, I need to confirm if everything is okay. You can be able to comment maybe for the guys who are following, so that so that is well confirmed. So we continue. So I've said that the published financial statements under the published financial statements, we have various statements which are prepared for publication purposes. So these statements include which one and which one. So here we have the statement of profit or loss. So we have the statement of changes in equity, we have the statement of financial position, Then we talk about cash flow statements. So the cash flow statements. So we talk about the cash flow statements. So remember that when we talk about these three, they can be tested as one. So you can have a question of this and this and this as one question of 20 marks in an exam, in a KASNEB exam. Then also you can have this 20 marks. So meaning that only this topic, the published financial statement, can give you a total of 40 marks in an exam. Right now, a good example is checking the financial reporting and analysis paper, which was tested last sitting. The financial reporting and analysis paper, which was tested last sitting by KASNEB. Question 4 and 5. Question 4, it was cash flow statements. Question 5, it was statement of profit or loss, statement of changes in equity, statement of financial position. So what you need to know is that when you are preparing the statement of profit or loss, you present that statement on a functional basis, meaning that if it's expenses, they are supposed to be classified under the cost of sales, administrative expenses, distribution cost. We talk about distribution cost and finance cost. So the expenses are supposed to be presented based on those functional heads. So some expenses goes to the cost of sales. Some are supposed to be classified under administrative expenses. Some goes to the distribution cost. Others goes to the finance cost. We'll come to look at a question. Then when we talk about the statement of changes in equity, remember this is all about the change in equity components, the likes of ordinary share capital, share premium, revaluation reserve, retained profit, and other reserve like general reserve. So you have to understand the format for this. Then we talk about the statement of financial position. The main concern here is the presentation of the non-current assets. So the non-current assets are supposed to be presented on not on a functional basis. The statement of financial position, we have the aspect of non-current assets, the tangible ones. So these fixed assets are supposed to be aggregated and presented under the property, plant, and equipment. Under the property, plant, and equipment. So under statement of financial position, present your non-current assets, the fixed, tangible non-current assets under property, plant, and equipment. So that is what you need to know. Now we can go to the question of the day. We can go to the question of the day so that we can be able to present the first three statements. So the question of the day for this session, I will be able to do the reciting question from financial reporting and analysis. From the financial reporting and analysis. So I will be able to do August 2023, question 5. So this is from FR, Financial Reporting and Analysis. Financial Reporting and Analysis. KASNEB exams. So the KASNEB. So the Financial Reporting and Analysis. So question number 5. What was there? What was present in that question number 5? So what I will do, I will be able to attach the link under the comment section so that you can be able to access the past papers. Because on my case, I have the hard copy of the same. So for the guys who doesn't have past papers, so there's this link I will be able to attach under the comments section. Under the comment section so that you can be able to access those past papers. So what you do is this one. Check under the comment section. There's a link. There's a link there. There's a link there. So I have shared a link for the past papers. So you can use that to access the past papers to this question. So they are sitting. So you open CPA, go to 2023 August, go to financial reporting, question number 5. Also remember that you can share this video with other students. So as we start doing this question, kindly, for the guys who are following this live session, the nice thing you can do, a great thing you can do to me is all about sharing the link to this live session so that you can have more guys following. As I also share here, so that I can be able to welcome more guys to this live session. So you can do that before we start doing this question. In 2 minutes, you can share the link to other guys who would like to join this live session. So you can share as we think of starting doing this question. And also whoever who could like to join my live classes, so other than the YouTube ones, also you are welcomed. The Zoom classes I do during the week, that is in the evening hours, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We do live sessions, the Zoom. For now, we have 1 month. I will be doing comprehensive Zoom live classes. So there's a WhatsApp group for the same, but I always charge a small cost for the Zoom live classes, whereby we can be able to interact one-on-one, but virtually, you understand that? So anyway, without wastage of time, let's go to this question. August 2023, question 5, financial reporting and analysis, which is tested by KASNEB. KASNEB is a body which offers accounting courses in Kenya and some parts of Africa. So the question reads, I think you have it because already you have the link. The following trial balance relates to BD remitted as at 31st December 2022. So you have what we call a trial balance. A trial balance, it has the aspects of assets, it has the aspects of liabilities, it has the aspect of expenses, equity. All the items are present. So my main concern is the additional information. So additional information, they are saying that, number 1, during the year ended 31st December 2022, BD disposed of an item of plant for cash proceeds of 20 million, which were credited. So they are credited to the revenue account. No accounting entries was made. So the plant had cost 39,700,000 and had an accumulated depreciation of 15,860,000. So in that additional information, number one, what are we required to do? So in that additional information, number one, working one. So remember that they did a disposal. They did a disposal of plant. So we have to do a disposal account. We have to do a disposal account for us to know if we got a gain or a loss. If we got a gain or a loss. Remember, disposal account, we debit cost, we credit sales proceeds and accumulated depreciation. We deduct that is from the cost. The proceeds, sales proceeds, and we have accumulated depreciation. So remember that the plant which was disposed, this plant which was disposed, it was having a cost of, so the plant was costing 39,700,000. So I will reduce my figures to thousands. That is why I've written 39,700. I've written 39,700. So the proceeds, what they received on the disposal, is all about proceeds is 20. So proceeds is 20. So proceeds is 20. So it's supposed to be credited here. Not under the revenue. What they did is wrong, by the way. Because they had decided that they credited the amount in the revenue account. That amount is supposed to be credited in this account. So we will be able to deduct the amount when we will be doing our income statement. When we will be starting with revenue, we will deduct this 20 because it has been credited under the revenue account, which is wrong. So the accumulated depreciation is 15,860. 15,860. So do we have a gain or a loss? So if it's a gain, if it's a loss, it will be here. If it's a gain, it will be on this side. So I can get my calculator. We continue computing. So what we do is this one. So do we have a gain or a loss? So remember that 20,000 plus 15,860. So that is 35. So meaning that this is 39,700. So this is 39,700. So we have a loss of. So we have a loss of, because even if they sold at this and accumulated depreciation is this, so this one is less than the cost of the asset. So they made a loss of. So 39,700 minus that, we have a loss of 38,40. So this is an expense. This is an expense. So it will be classified under the cost of sales. That one will be taken to the cost of sales. So any gain, that is additional information. Number one, they said any gain, stroke loss on a disposal of plant should be included within the cost of sales. It's the company's policy to provide the full year depreciation in the year of asset purchase and none in the year of disposal. It's fine. Additional information number two, depreciation on property, plant, and equipment is provided and allocated as follows. So we have working number two. So now that we do depreciation, working two. So working number two is all about depreciation. So we have depreciation. So depreciation, the first one is for the building. The first one is for the building. So building at 2.5% times what? Remember, it's on straight line method. It means that we multiply the percentage with the cost. So you just apply the cost. So this percentage, you apply it on the cost only. We don't have to deduct accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation is deducted when we have the aspect of reducing balance method. So the building was having a cost of, so the building, we are told it's at 400 million. So meaning that this is 400,000. So in thousands, that is fine. So the answer will be taken to admin expenses. So that is what they have said. So for the plant, it's all about 10% times what? 10% reducing balance method. So for the plant, if you check your trial balance, we have 280,000 as the cost. But since it's on reducing balance method, what are we supposed to do? We have to deduct the accumulated depreciation from the cost before we apply the percentage. So I would put in brackets 280,000. I deduct what? Accumulated depreciation of the plant, which is 160. And that is the case. Then the next thing is all about motor vehicle. So motor vehicle, that is all about 20%. 20% times. So it's on cost or it's on straight line method, meaning that I just apply the cost of the motor vehicle. So that is 70,000. 70,000. Then the next asset is office equipment. The office equipment. So we have the office equipment. So the office equipment, that is the office equipment is 12.5% times what? A straight line method. Office equipment is stated at what? 40,000. And they are very specific where these expenses will be classified. Like now for building, it goes to administrative, plant, cost of sales, motor vehicle, distribution, office equipment, admin. So let's get the values by taking our calculator and doing the relevant calculations here. We have 10. So 280,000 minus so times 0.1. So 16. But now this one, we need to be careful on this. So there's this, we need to be careful on this one. So for this one first, I need to do an adjustment, which I've seen there. So this one, skip it first. I will explain more about it. Because I have remembered there's something I've not done. Remember there was a disposal. So this one is 14. And then 40,000 times 0. That is 12%, anyway, 12.5%. So this is 5%. So why did I say that for plant there's something I need to explain? For plant, depreciation of plant. So for the depreciation of plant, there's something to explain here. Because if we look at plant, I have remembered that looking at note 1, what was disposed? It's a plant which was disposed. And what they are trying to say that we are depreciating it using reducing balance method, meaning that the total value, the cost of the plant, yes, it was 280,000. But out of this, there was a disposal. There was this disposal. According to additional information, there was a plant which was disposed, which is inclusive here. Its cost is 39,700. So I need to get the correct cost after disposal, and at the same time, I have to get the correct depreciation after disposal. So the accumulated depreciation for the plant is 160 minus the disposal. The accumulated depreciation of the asset disposed, which is 15,860. So we have to do that first before even we apply the 10%. So 280 minus 39,700. So this is 240,300. Then 160 minus 15,860. So this is 95,300 after disposal. That is now when we would say cost minus accumulated depreciation. So 240,300 minus answer. So this I'm getting now 145,000. So this is the one I will apply. So depreciation will be depreciation for the year will be now 10% of this. So you get that is 14,500. You'll be able to get 14,500. We are done with additional information number 2. We talk about additional information number 3. It has been discovered that the former financial controller of BD engaged in fraudulent financial reporting. Shillings 12 million of trade receivables are non-existent and they need to be written off. So that is a bad debts written off, bad debts written off, bad debts written off, of which 7 million relates to the year ended 31st December 2022. Remember, 2022 is for the current year, with a balance relating to prior periods. So meaning that 5 was for the previous periods. So when I will be recognizing my bad debt written off in the income statement, that income statement is prepared for the year. So it's a statement of profit or loss. So the statement of profit or loss is a statement prepared for the year. So when I will be doing my income statement, which is the statement of profit or loss, I will consider 7 because that is for the year. But when I will be adjusting my trade receivables, I have to adjust with a total 12 because statement of financial position is prepared on a specific date. That is at the end of the period, inclusive of all what you have been doing from the previous periods. So when adjusting your trade receivables in the statement of financial position, adjust with a total 12. When recording your bad debt written off in the income statement, you consider 7. Number 4, the existing debit balance on the current tax in the trial balance represents understroke of a provision of previous year's tax. Number 4, that is. So they are saying that there's a debit balance of the current tax. So if you go to your trial balance, they start current tax on the debit side. On the debit side. So that balance represents either under provision or over provision. How will you be able to know that it's an under provision or over provision? So remember that if it's tax under provision from the previous year, under provision, if you did an under provision of tax in the previous year, what will you do to this year's tax? The under provision will increase the tax of the current year. The under provision of the previous year will increase the tax of this year. So meaning that an under provision of the previous year is an expense in the current period. And the expenses are debited. And that is what they have provided here. So if it's an over provision from the previous year, it will reduce your tax of the current year. The tax you are supposed to make this year. So something reducing your tax is an income to you. Incomes are credited. So meaning that the debit balance of 2,600 is an under provision. And I have explained why. And then they continued saying that our provisions for current tax for the year ended 31st December 2022 of 52 million is required, together with a decrease of the deferred tax provision of 3 million. So here, what they need you to do is all about working 3. They just need you to compute income tax, of which I can see they have provided everything. So income tax is all about current tax. You take your current tax plus minus increase or decrease. Increase or decrease in deferred tax plus tax under provision from the previous period. Tax under provision, of which I've said what we have in the trial balance as our current tax is under provision. I've explained why. Then we have tax over provision, we minus. So on this scenario, we have current tax, which they say it is a provision of current tax for the year ended 31st December 2022 is 52,000. Then here we minus a decrease in deferred tax of 3. And we have said we have an under provision from the previous year, represented by the current tax balance in the trial balance of 26. So what are you getting? 52,000 plus 3,000 plus 26. So this is 57,600. 57,600. So the 57,600. So 57,600. So then the next thing is concerning so the next thing is concerning what? The next thing is concerning additional information number 5, whereby they say that inventory count on 31st December 2022 refilled the value of inventory at a cost of 85 million. So that is a closing stock. Then number 6, on 1st, that is on 30th, not first, on 30th December 2022, the company directors invited the current stakeholders to subscribe to a rights issue on the basis of 1 new share for every 5 shares held at an exercise price of 15 each. The CAM right price on the last day of trading was 20. So we'll be able to do and check. I will be able to analyze note 6 because it's based on a bonus. A bonus is all about it's a bonus, not a bonus. They talked about the rights issue. Rights issue is whereby the entity tells the shareholders that you have an option in the company to come and buy the shares of the company at a price which is lower than the par value. So if the par value is par value or the market value, the market value that is. So you have to buy the shares of the company at a price which is lower than the market price. So here you can see the market price is 20. The CAM right price on the last day of the trading was 20. So they were told that you can purchase the shares at what? At 15. You can purchase the shares at 15, but which is higher than the par value, because the par value is the capital. The shares they were issuing at what price? 10. If you go to the trial balance, I can see the par value is 10, of which they have a right to purchase shares at 15, of which the market price is 20. So they are purchasing at a lower price than the market price, based on a certain proportion. Based on a certain proportion. Which certain proportion there? They were told that you can get 1 new for every 5 held. You can get 1 share for every 5 held at 15, even if the market value is 20. So we will analyze that. And that one would affect the statement of changes in equity, of which after statement of changes in equity, remember we have to go ahead and transfer the relevant affected account to the statement of financial position. So after you have done an analysis of this kind, remember there's one thing we have not done. That is the presentation of expenses based on the functional heads. Presentation of expenses based on various functional heads. So that is the last thing I will do. Then we do the presentation of the relevant statements the examiner is in need of. So we can go ahead and do that. So remember that there's this expense. So in my case, I can take a picture because I will be using these expenses to cost of sales. This one will be to cost of sales. Then they said this one is to admin. They said this one is to distribution. And this one is to admin. So when I will be recording these expenses, I think you will know that these are the one I will be recording. So I want to clear this and continue. So statement of expense allocation. Statements of expenses allocation. We do allocation of expenses. So statement of expenses allocation. Expenses are allocated under what and what? So expenses are allocated under cost of sales. Some goes to admin. So that is administrative expenses. Some are recorded under administrative expenses, and others go to distribution. Others go to distribution cost. So the first thing you need to do is all about to check which are the figures provided in the trial balance, the values provided in the trial balance. And before even we continue, for the guys I have said who could drag to join me every evening, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. we do sessions. Even if it's advanced, they're far, no matter the unit, there's a timetable. This is the month I will be doing a lot of work, preparing guys to sit for their exams. So you can call me through this number after this session. Msianza kunipigia sahi. So that is my number. That is my number. You can call. We'll agree on the way forward. Because to attend these sessions, there is a small cost. So call, we'll talk, you will join. And you can't regret. You can't regret coming December. So balances as per trial balance. Balances as per trial balance. As per trial balance. So the balances as per the trial balance. So the distribution, what about cost of sales? Are we provided with a cost of sales? So if it's not given, we compute, by the way. We compute. So cost of sales is equals to opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. You minus the closing stock. So on this scenario, we have the opening stock from the trial balance, which is 138,000. Plus purchases, also from the trial balance, purchases at cost. Purchases at cost, 667,000. Minus closing stock. Closing stock is the one which is under additional information. It was under additional information what? Additional information number 5. Inventory count on 31st December 2022. Refill the file of inventory at a cost of 85 million. So we have 85,000. We have the 85,000. So what do we have? So what are you getting here? What are you getting there? So you can also give me these values under the comment. I can be able to see. I can be able to see that you are following. So drop a comment. Also like. The more the video is given the like, the more is given a recommendation to many people to watch. So the more you give a like, never just follow, give it a like. Once you come in, like the ongoing session. You can also share to other students. If you are an accounting student, I know you are in many WhatsApp groups. Some of you are in various schools. So there are guys in financial reporting and advanced financial reporting. With this channel only, you can watch and the videos which are under this channel. They are very important. I think if you have not realized that, I'm sorry. So that is 720. So admin. So admin from the trial balance. So the admin is a 93,500. Then this one is 44,000. So check additional information number 1. Remember we made a disposal account. We did a disposal account. So the disposal account, there was a loss on disposal, and they said we record under the cost of sales. So the value was. So I have taken. I took a picture of the first part of the first part of these workings. So this one was 3840. You remember how we did this? Working number 1. So then working number 2, there is a depreciation on building. So depreciation on building, we have that of Other than building, we have that of plant. After plant, we have depreciation of a motor vehicle. And the last one was depreciation of what? Depreciation of office equipment. Remember, for the building, they said it was the depreciation goes to admin. So I will be recording under administrative, and it was 10,000. The value for plant is here. This one 14,500. So 14,500 goes to cost of sales. 14,500. For motor vehicle, this one is distribution, goes to distribution. The value was, for this one, the value was 14,000. Then for office equipment goes to admin. The value was 5,000. So there's one expense which is under the additional information. There's this aspect of additional information number 3, where there was some theft which took place in the company. It has been discovered that the former financial controller of BD engaged in fraudulent financial reporting. There was that 12 million, which is non-existent, and they need to be written off. But remember, 7 is the one only for the current year, but their balance is for the previous periods. So here we record bad debt written off. So now you use your own knowledge to determine where to record. This one goes to admin. These are the people of administrative in nature who committed the theft. So the 5 or the 7, not 5. The 5 is for the previous periods. So the 7 is for the current year. The total was 12. The total value was 12. But 7 is the one which relates to the current year. 5 is for the previous years. 5 is for the previous periods. So I can write, I think, my contact here, because I find some students in need of it who want to join the other sessions which I do weekday. That is my number there. So we continue. So we can get the totals. So 720,000 plus 3840 plus 14,500. So this is 700 and what? 38,340. Then this is 93,500 plus 10 plus 12,000. So this is 115,500. 115,500. 44,000 plus 14,000. So this is 58,000. So once you have done this analysis, correct? Now it's very easier. It's almost we are done with the question, because now I will go direct to the requirement. The examiner was in need of a statement of profit or loss. I will just write the heading. It's called BD Limited. BD Limited. BD Limited. Statement of profit or loss. Statement of profit or loss. So that is for the year. For the year ended, our financial year ends on 31st December 2022. 31st December 2022. So shillings in what? We have shillings in thousands. So we start with revenue. So our revenue is revenue or turnover, or they can even call it sales. So it's 1123. 1123,500. So there's that dispose of 20, which was credited here, and it was supposed to be credited under the disposal account. We minus. There's that note 1. Plant for they did BD disposed an item of plant for cash proceeds of 20, which were credited to this account, which is loan. Less cost of sales. So cost of sales is the one we have determined here. We have added back some expenses. So the final figure to pick is this: 738, 340. So we minus, we get gross profit. Gross profit. So we can get the revenue. So that 500 minus 20,000. That is 1103, 500. So minus 738, 340. So this is 365, 160. 365, 160. So after this, we can raise expenses. But if there was any income, I could have added less expenses, administrative expenses. So we have administrative expenses, this one, 115, 500. We talk about the distribution cost. So this one here, 58,000. Well, these are deductions. So we say profit before interest and tax. Before interest and tax. So minus 115,500 minus 58,000. So this is 191,660. So interest is all about finance cost. And if you look at your trial balance, there was a bank interest in the trial balance there, which is 2,400. So you deduct, you say profit before tax. Profit before tax. So minus 2,400, that is 189,260. 189 profit before tax. Then income tax. Income tax we computed. Do you remember the income tax? We did working somewhere. So our income tax, we did a working somewhere. I can even repeat doing it. It was a current tax, which is 52,000. There was a decrease in deferred tax of 3. Then we added under provision of 2,600. You remember this working we did. At some point, I even explained why we arrived at this. I don't have to explain again. So profit after tax or profit for the year. So 189,260 minus answer. So this is 137,660. This question was, this A was having 6 marks. This A was having 6 marks. How did they mark this for you to score 6 marks? I need to show you that. How did they carry out the marking? So when they were marking this part A, so this was having 6 marks. They needed only correct 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of the 6, they needed only 3 correct entries for you to get 6. So they have to multiply with 2. It was very easy. You could have scored that. You could have scored those 6 marks. So let's do the second part of this question. So let's do the second part of this question. So remember that I promised I will do all the sitting questions live. We have already done 2. We are remaining with only 3. One of it is theory. So I'm remaining only with a branch. I will do next branch accounting. Then we do cash flow. I will be done with that past paper. I will also cover theory for that. The same with advanced financial reporting. I will also do all the 5 questions for a sitting. And I will be able to tell you how they marked that paper. And you can see how easy it was. Other than now, what I'm doing here, the sessions we do in the evening. Imagine now you attend evening classes, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We solve KASNEB questions. I introduce a topic, we do questions. Even if you have an issue maybe of being slow a bit, if you attend a sessions where we do past paper questions, we introduce our topic, then do past paper questions, and we look at technical issues, I don't think you can have any challenge. So use this number well. 0728 760 546. That is the number you can contact me. We agree on the way forward, on how you can be able to join my online Zoom classes. Let's move to the second part of the question. They were in need of a statement of changes in equity. So we have BD Limited. We have BD Limited. So statement of changes in equity. 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 That is for the year. For the year ended. So for the year ended 31st December 2022. 31st December 2022. So yeah, changes in equity will come to your, go to your trial balance. Go to your trial balance. Check some of the equity components which are present there. Some of the equity components which are present. So we have the equity components like which one? Ordinary share capital. Ordinary share capital. We have things like share premium. That is what I can see from the trial balance. We have retained profit. We have the retained profit. And then we can have the total. We can have the total there. So I remember there's one additional information which I never interpreted, even if I mentioned what's required there. The one for right issue. We'll be able to do our work in here for that. So the balances as per trial balance, as per the trial balance. The balances as per the trial balance, we have 200,000. We have 50,000. We have 223,640. So there is it. There is it. So if we take 250,000 plus 223,640, you are getting for what? 473,640. Yeah. So after doing that, remember that we need to check if there was any issue of shares or whether there was issue of shares. So issue of shares, issue of shares. So there is a right issue. So the right issue, which was meant, that is according to additional information number. For the guys joining, this is the relevant question I'm doing. August 2023, question 5. Financial reporting and analysis. KASNEB exams. KASNEB. The body which was added previous by the guy who was well known. And if he is also the current guy who is well known and my good friend. And that is called who? Rating. Previous it was Nduati. So here we have the aspect of rights issue. Note 6, the company director invited current shareholders to subscribe to a rights issue on the basis of 1 new share for every 5 shares held. 1 new share for every 5 shares held. How many shares were held? How many shares the company issued to raise a capital of 200,000? Per var is 10. So 200,000 divided by 10. You get 20,000. They issued 20,000 shares. So yeah, you say 20. What about 20,000? What about 20,000? So you come here and say 20,000 times 1/5. How many shares the company issued? This is all about 4,000. This is all about 4,000. So 4,000. So we can take 4,000. If we multiply with 15, so what are we getting? But that one will not be the correct way to record this. I'll get 60,000. But the correct way to record this, because now here, they were told that you can purchase the shares at 15. You can purchase the shares at 15, but the par value is 10. So meaning that you can purchase the shares at a higher price, even if the price is lower than the market price. They purchase this at 15, which is lower than the market price, of which the power is 10. So meaning that the difference of 10 and 15, that is what we call premium. Share premium. So this one times 4,000 will have 40,000. This one will affect ordinary share capital. Then 5 times, so times 4,000, that is 20,000. This one would affect the share premium. But before I record this again, there is this aspect of adjustment we need to make. Remember, there was a total of there was this aspect of theft which was done in the company. That is note 3. The total was 12 million, which cannot be traced. So they wanted to write off, of which 7 is for the current year. 7 is for the current year, and 5 is for the previous periods. So that one must affect our profit. The 5 for the prior periods. So prior period, we have to make prior period adjustments. Prior period adjustments. So with the 5. So prior period adjustments, the 5,000 must be deducted here because it's included here. So deduct there and here. So that by this period, before we continue presenting our statement, we have restated balances. We have restated balances as at 1st January, the start of the year, 1st January 2022. So this is 20, this is 50,